Presented by Quinrose.
Hello everyone, this is the Daiya update that I promised. I did about 306 pages translated. We're going to pick up where we left off after having visited the station. Which this little segment is about. I love the opening for Daiya. Gorgeous! Love those. Okay, moving on. We left off at the second save spot. I'm guessing this is it. Double check. Alright, well, I'm gonna go with that one. It's been a while. Alright. Double check here. Okay, cool. So if you try to go back to it, it actually tells you if you attempt to go back to the station, I've been here once and I want to go around, so let's go to another place, is what it says. So we are going to switch to the Hatter's location, which I actually translated the entire segment. And we only have two other locations left, which would be the graveyard/museum and Crysta Snowpigen's Castle of Diamonds after this. And then we're out of the prologue, you guys, entirely. So let's go. A man is running by saying, also, there seems to be a quarrel with the gravekeeper. He's like, you should hurry to evacuate early. And another man's like, well, even if we're not told directly. Alice is so confused. She's like, the only familiar territory here to me was of the Mad Hatters in the country of diamonds. However, in the city, that path through there does not go to the mansion. For some reason, people enter this house one after another. She's like, whoa, what happened? Aloud? Questioning. The woman tells her, you should get into the house with them early. You'll get caught. Like, quickly. And Alice says, as places crowded with people in it, for Heart and Clover Country, it suddenly became too quiet here. It's always a busy place there. And so it seems this is to be another location. Like one she's not familiar with. She still doesn't quite get it, like the move, but Nightmare kind of explained it to her. She's like, what? I don't know what's going to happen to me from now on, but it's unlikely that you're okay standing stunned in the middle of the road, she concludes. For the time being, I moved to the side of the building in a hurry. A Hatter servant has come around the corner, and you can see that it has kind of a partial CG of their clothing there. He's actually saying, was there, and trailed off. The other one's like, I think it's about time. And the other female servant confirmed, then it's about time. Alice is like, what a fuss, to herself. From the front, a group of people dressed as servants of the Hatter's mansion runs into it. Like from in front of the house. Familiar people, but I can't see their face. Which is odd for her. because she can actually usually make it out if she, like, pays enough attention. She's like, in this world, it is difficult to distinguish faces, except for those humans who have a role. As for servants, men and women have the same clothes, too. So she's like, maybe that's it. If I didn't have to wait, I'd be able to determine the amount I know. I had a way to tell, she confirmed to herself. Like, if she didn't have to wait around the corner and, like, hide. She's like, it should be, and trailed off. She's like, the faces, and then she's getting, like, concerned because she's like, I can't see their face, like, no matter how hard she tries. She's like, referencing a folk creature here. She's like a Naparero bow, they have no face. I don't think I'm saying that right. I'm assuming it's like a no thing, because of no mask and whatnot, but oh well. The same faces are just rushing by me. And she's like, this is scary. Because she can normally tell who they are. She's like, I'm supposed to be an acquaintance of them. But I feel scared right now. Alice is like, why? To herself. I can't even seem to speak to you easily anymore, she concludes. Oi. An associate member comes by and he's like, hey, it's about time. Another associate member, oh, come on, we can go anytime. Another associate's like, haha, we're on the right road for it this time. The footsteps have come into hearing, the sound playing from their point of use. I turn around to find out what the cause of the sound really is. Alice confirmed another group is running in from there, but over there comes out servants from all over the city. Their appearance looked rough when compared to the servants in the Hatter's house. She's like, they're wearing a suit and wearing a tie, so it doesn't look different like that. However, their tie was loosened, and their shirt was ruined because some buttons were unbuttoned. It's too open for transportation train work, and it's a look to them as in they're a bit too hard for something like that. So she's like worked out that they don't work for the station that she just left. There are very few women and men with a select body type like this. It stands out, the working class. Like a coal miner in particular, she concluded. As a profession, I don't want to look down on it, but as a young woman, it's hard to come close to that type of figure, the one that they have, like alone. She's like, again, the faces cannot be identified and the clothes of the same design are worn. When I was confused by this, the shooting started from nowhere. Alice confirms to herself that we're holding our head down and trying to squat to avoid getting hit by the bullets, but after staying down for a while, they were just scattered in all directions. The situation is clear if you guessed that they're from the family business of the Hatter Shop family. They are the Mafia, for sure. That means, she trails off to herself, you can think of your opponent as a mafia or similar organization. While they're fighting against each other as outlaws? She concluded, I was in a bad place. This was the reason why the residents of the shopping district had rushed into that house. I think I should evacuate from here as soon as possible, but even if I evacuate, Alice thinks the only thing I could think of was to go to the Hatter's house. Escape to the Mafia headquarters to avoid the Mafia's conflict. It seems like a contradiction, she thinks, but in truth, their neighborhood is the place where we are the most close to each other, and in a way, that's safer. If I go through the back alley, I can reach it there safely. It seems that the town's landscape has not changed at all. She's like, as soon as the gunshots overhead stopped, I ran into a nearby alley. Maybe only my bad luck was strong here, and that's why I was able to avoid getting involved. I'd continue to head towards the Hatter house. Or maybe only my bad luck was strong, and that's why I was able to avoid getting involved there. I'd continued to head to the Hatter house, because she kind of regrets it after everything, but we'll get to that. The scenes change to the Hatter gate, and Alice is like, huh? Running in through the back alley, I noticed something different from their previous world. There are air holes all over the city. I don't think that these are holes or even bullet holes just left around. But it wasn't like this before. She's like, it will be restored if the time zone changes several times. In the past. She's like, in this world, you just leave it alone and it will be restored. I've encountered it several times in skirmishes, but I've never seen anything so rough. Like from her former location. Is it really destroyed again so soon after it is repaired here? She's like, it must be getting damaged again quickly after. In both the Heart Country and the Clover Country, the Hattershaft family as a mafia, it was close to the strongest. Although, there were still conflicts. She's like, there was no one else who could say they fight against each other in a state of being settled. So powerful to some extent. She's like, they're so powerful and they're the only ones that can really say that, but they still have to fight. I just moved alone, though, this time, and I don't even know when or if this has happened in this world. And it is a world of such time-based professions. Like, their roles are based on times of day, and then the day changes to their time of hour, which gives them kind of power and, like, abilities and, like, things that they can do at that time. So, like, their professions are literally based on their hour that their role is based on. She's like, but are the inhabitants of the Hatter's house safe? I felt uneasy all at once. Anyway, let's take a peek inside the mansion. I don't know what's going on, and it's dangerous to enter from the hall, she concluded. The gatekeepers of the mansion, they're supposed to be my familiar twins. However, there is nothing in front of the gate. It hurts to say that this is not an abnormal situation for them. The gatekeepers here are usually absent, sometimes like on a whim. It cannot be said that they play the role of a real gatekeeper. Alice concluded I was reluctant to enter from the front and went around behind the stairs instead. I know the structure because it is a place I know well. I could predict the position, where it would be easy to look around, so I thought about the inside of the fence from that position. And she's like, wow, it's not all you can eat. Because the spread is not on the tea table and the table's actually gone. She's noticing this. If I were to remove the background, which doesn't really work in the EMU like it does on my PSP, you'll see that it's just empty and that the garden's like super run down. She's like, the garden of Hatter Mansion was not of a familiar look, nor a familiar garden. The flowers are dead, and the grass is barely growing, she concluded. It's not in good condition at all. Alice is disturbed. She's like, this is not good. And suddenly, Blood's there. She's like, ah! Suddenly, my arm was pulled. With relentless power, it is pulled up and suspended in the air. Yes, it hurts, she concludes to herself. Release it, she told him frantically. She flailed at the position to escape, but she was unable to tear off his captive hands on her arm. The person asked, this is suspect, whoever's this lady. What are you doing in this deep darkness, hiding in shadows? He asks her, where did you get into here from? And then he's concluding, because apparently it doesn't seem to be with my hand in it. He tells her, I don't see you as an intelligence officer. I wonder if there is no one who seems to be one, so that way the line is darker to define. She's like a familiar voice. This voice is from a person I know. He tells her, anyway, if I catch them, you're going to be done. It's okay to commit suicide, but if you vomit information obediently, he trails off. He tells her, I mean, it's such a trivial phrase to give, though. It's been a while since I arrested them without killing them, he concludes to himself aloud. She's like, Blood, release my arm. Blood Dupree was holding my arm, a mafia boss commonly known as the Hatter Shop Mafia's Don. He's smart, but capricious, annoying, and a tea lover. Not bad per se, but for me, it's the worst with his look of a former lover of mine and a feel of melancholy. She's like, I can't forget it or make a mistake. Blood is in front of me right now. Like who he is. Nevertheless, she concludes to herself, there is no doubt who he is, a friend I know well. He is a strange person, but was a close person to me. She's not scared yet. She's like, the others to herself. Just like the others. His attitude, more than that. I feel the distance now that I am facing the person I met in Wonderland for the first time. So because we chose him, like, it's kind of going off of as if she had, like, stayed with them beforehand. He tells her, oh, you know me, but you're abandoning applying the knowledge. He's like, why aren't you acting as if you know me? Because, like, if you know me, then you know you're in a dangerous situation, basically. And then he doesn't reply for a second. He tells her, I thought that it would be foolish as a clerk that she wouldn't disguise herself as an ordinary person, and yet wouldn't blur either, like her face. Because the only people with faces in this world and all the other versions of Wonderland and the countries of Wonderland are role holders. They're the only ones with a face. The other ones are all blurred out. And he's alluding to the fact that you can do it if you have a role, but that you don't have to. And he's like, why didn't you do it? And I thought it was foolish that, like, a rival clerk for, like, a rival gang, basically, hadn't done that. He's like, you're an outsider. And he's all shocked. She's like, what? Aloud? Yes, that's right, she confirmed to Blood. She's to herself asking, what are you doing now? Like, she hates using that word to refer to herself. And then she's like, well, it's just for now. I'm an outsider. Or extraordinary person. But lately, I've stopped saying so. And she's like, it's just for right now, so it's okay. Aloud, she tells him, but I'm already familiar with this world, correcting him. She's like, I was actually quite familiar with it, and it was a form of proof that I became comfortable with things here, to herself. So here's actually a reference to her assimilation to the world and the games and the rules there. Blood tells her, yes, that's right. It's hard for you to understand. You're still an outsider, or extraordinary person, and thus rare. But you're on the verge of being buried in not unusual boredom. He's referencing, like, being assimilated here. It's about to become the usual boredom for him. Which is why he probably had a hard time recognizing her at first, because usually it's, like, immediate. They're like, you're an outsider. It took him a while here. And now here he kind of explains it, but she doesn't get it. He's like, but it doesn't mean that you're automatically an outsider because you're an extraordinary person. I want to love them as a rare thing in normal times, he concludes for himself aloud. But things are weird here in the Looking Glass world, basically. So he's like, in reference to like his current situation there, telling her, I want to love them as a rare thing in normal times. But, and then before, and he's like, it also doesn't automatically mean that you're an outsider, that like you have that label and that title here, even if you are an extraordinary person. Which I also think is kind of a reference to the fact that they may have all started out as outsiders and then been assimilated. So that's one of the fan theories. That's why I'm playing these games, to figure it out. And she's like, Blood's words only deepen suspicion. He talks as if he didn't know me. She still doesn't get it, that she moved alone, so they're not the same people. Like, they don't carry the same memories of her. She's alone, but she'll get it by the end of this. For sure. She's like, it's not just the words exchange. There's a distance. They're the same person, though they're still a long way off. She's like, Blood, you don't know me? I spent many face-to-face meetings together with him in the Country of Hearts and the Country of Clover. I rent a book in his room and then have a tea party with him. She's like, no way, Blood. Did you forget me? Like Boris did? She still doesn't get it, even after meeting Boris at the station in the last few videos. But it's kind of cute, like how attached she got to them. She's asking herself this, by the way. So here he's making a reference to the fact that she like claims to know him. Blood tells her, I don't know you. It's more strange to you, though, it seems, if nothing is known by me about the person I met for the first time just now. I wonder if you're a famous villain, young princess, he tells her. Kind of snidely. Although the voice he used for young lady is the same, something is different. He was not him. Her blood, she means. She doesn't really know what to say. This person who resembles Blood continues to talk to me, who is just standing there stunned.
それが君の作戦なのかな？知り合いを装って入り込み、内側から崩していく。
He tells her, well, asks her first, is that your strategy? And then says, you enter, pretending to be an acquaintance, and then collapse us from the inside. He's amused. He said it in a major teasing and derisive tone, as if to make fun of me. I can feel the thorns from it, she concluded. Somehow, it's as if he's more youth, or maybe immature, which is a good guess on her part, because these are all like the younger counterparts of them through the looking glass, basically, like an alternate dimension version of them set earlier in time and in a different country. So it's them, but a lot like more immature, basically. So she's recognizing it at least. This looks like Blood Dupree himself, and he'd seemed to remain the same for years. However, like as long as she's known him throughout the 7 games. However, I felt that the unique margin between them was thinner than he or I knew. I wonder if he is not fully dressing this up, even though I had forgotten about his tendency on doing that. I felt a strange sense of affinity, and suddenly, I felt the distance between us close. She's like, he's the same. It's weird to feel intimidated by being threatened by him, she concluded. She's like, I'm usually never threatened or feel threatened, even though he says stuff like this all the time.
色仕掛けの類であれば、君のようなこのテレンテクダを試してみるのも良さそうだがね。面倒なことに今は仕事が忙しい。
He tells her if it's that kind of colored up scheme, it might be a good idea to try the hand of a child like you. Like, try being manipulated by the hand of a child like you. The trouble is, though, that I am busy right now. Again, referencing his current state of affairs and how he can't play games with her right now. Which is something he would normally never do, because he actually loves this kind of crap. Alright, you guys, we're going to save this here. Save. Save. We're going with the, because I've had errors before. Alright, so the 3rd slot. And then